Where there is no vision, the people perish, and a nation divided against itself shall not stand. These are the words of the Ancient of Days that have held true and have transcended beyond the passage of time. And it is upon the foundation of these truths that I come before you today, but with heaviness of heart, as I look at the future of our people and that of our global community, and seeing the absence of a collective vision, but the pursuits of selfishness by many of our leaders who seek to gain for themselves the lion's share of the nation's wealth, while the masses toil and slave for the crumbs that fall from the master's table. Because it seems as if though many of our leaders have been vaccinated by the tranquilizing drug of power and corruption, while undermining the fact that for decades many of our nations have been sputtering along the runways of economic prosperity and are now on lockdown, shut down because of an invisible virus designed to murder and control us. And even though we feel the effects of these things in common, yet there is still no real unity and no real remedy among our global community. But if we as a kingdom people are going to make it in the years to come, then we must stand together in unity with one purpose and with one vision. And if we are going to survive the suffocating masks of this pandemic and eat the good of our lands, then we must stand together, live in peace together, and work to help each other. Because if there has ever been a time in our history for unity, it has to be now. If there has ever been a time in our lives for change, it has to be now. If there has ever been a time for us to work together, to help each other, brethren, it has to be now. So how long are we going to stand divided and allow the oceans of water, brick and mortar, and invisible borders to keep us separated? How long will we allow the psychological barriers of our traditions and culture and racial discrimination to drive a wedge between us? How long will we allow the ships of our economies to run aground in this our darkest hour before we can see the light of hope shining as a beacon in every nation, every kindred, and in every town? How long will it be before we can find peace without having to worry about losing our jobs, our homes, and finding food for ourselves and our little children to eat? How long will we wait before it is too late? We cannot afford to wait another day. We cannot afford to wait another year. You see, we can no longer depend on the wisdom and the conscience of certain men to deliver peace, equal rights, and justice for all. We must look to God. Brethren, even now more than ever, now is the time. Now is the time for us to come together in unity, to tear down these religious and racial walls that are only stumbling blocks in the way of the children of God. Now is the time for us to have one purpose, to help the people learn of God, to believe in God, and to obey God, and to let our light so shine before them that they may see our good works and glorify God in heaven. Now is the time for us to have one vision, to see no more doom and gloom to those who are in anguish, and to those who are living in spiritual darkness, to see the light of the world and to rejoice in Him. Because unto us a child was born, a son was given, and now the government is upon His shoulders, and His name is called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Knowing, my brothers and sisters, that to the increase of His government and peace there is no end. He rules from the throne of David and over His kingdom to establish and to uphold it in justice and in righteousness from this time forward and forevermore. And so I say to you again, my brethren, that where there is no vision, the people perish, and a nation that is divided against itself shall not stand. And so if there has ever been a time in our history for unity, now is the time. If there has ever been a time in our lives for one purpose, now is the time. If there has ever been a time for us to have one vision, my brethren, now is the time. This is Jakes from John J Ministries.